I don't know about you, but I'm getting kind of hungry after that. Well, welcome to the first week of our new series that we're calling Growing the Pie. And there's a whole lot of excitement about this new series, especially over at the school. Take a look at this.
Okay, what are you doing, Mrs. Vito?
Taking it. I love pie.
Well, Mrs. Vito, Mrs. Vito stole the pie. But that's not fair. I want a pie. I want a pie. Is there another pie somewhere?
You want pie?
I want pie. Please give me the pie. I want the pie. I'm the pastor. I should get the pie.
I got the pie. Well, but this series, even though the holidays are just around the corner, this series really isn't about pastries. This series is about what it means to be a church. Let me explain. Church is not a building, right? Church actually comes from a Greek word, ekklesia, which means gathering. But church also is not just a holy huddle of people. Church is actually a movement. It's a movement of people all moving in the same direction. But the $6 million question is, where are we headed? Well, the Bible gives us an answer. In the last book of the Bible, the book of Revelation, we are given a glimpse into the future of the church. And here's what it says. John has a vision that the church one day will be a great multitude, which no one can count, from every nation, race, people, and tongue. A great multitude of believers. That's the vision. That's the hope. And it kind of reminds me of a hilarious episode from the TV show The Simpsons. Anybody seen The Simpsons? Yeah, I see a few hands. It's a cartoon show. It's an adult show. And there's this great episode called Bart Goes to Heaven. And in that episode, Marge has a vision of heaven. But she visits Protestant heaven, where everybody's wearing pastel colors and sweater vests and playing badminton. It looks dreadfully boring. And then she looks over at the next cloud, and there's Catholic heaven, and there's mariachi bands and Irish line dancing and huge pasta dinners, and Homer and Bart are over there having a great time. They're just having a blast. And Marge says, I wish my family could be with me here, in Protestant heaven. And this man walks up to her and puts his arm around her. He says, sorry, Marge, they're just not our sort of people. You see, the word multitude, as John saw it, doesn't exclude anybody. It included everyone. A multitude includes everyone. And that's the vision, a vision of growth, a vision where everyone belongs. The prophet Ezekiel had a very similar vision about 500 years or so before Jesus. He had a very similar vision. He saw God's Spirit breathe life into a valley of dry bones. And those bones came together, and they came alive, and they stood upright, and they formed a vast army for God. See, that's the vision. A multitude of believers and a vast army of God. It's all about growth. Do you remember that parable that Jesus told, the parable of the talents, where he talks about a master who gave his 3 servants some certain resources, and then he went away on a long trip, and when he came back, he commended 2 of the servants who had made those resources grow, but he condemned the one who did not. You see, when it comes to the future vision of our church, it really is about the numbers. And when it comes to numbers, the church in the United States, sadly, is not doing so well. I think we all know that. And the only way, I think, to reverse that trend, that downward trend, is through clarity of vision, to know where we're headed, clarity of vision. You see, without vision, everything declines. Everything goes downhill, including churches. Vision is the ability to look into the future and visualize the final destination. A visionary is someone who can see the finish line as clearly as if it were in the present moment. Jesus willingly died on the cross because he could see into the future and he could see the good that his death would bring, even when no one else around them could. Jesus had vision, and he made certain strategic choices in his ministry based on that vision. And so must we. So must we. If we want to turn this decline down, we have to do something different. The definition of insanity, they say, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, right? So if we want to change things and turn this decline around, we have to change. But we can't change and make wise decisions if we don't know where we're going. That's why we need vision. And vision also brings hope. And I want to tell you that I see hope right now in our community right here. Enrollment at the school is higher than it's ever been. And every weekend we're seeing new faces, people that we haven't seen before. And we still have hundreds of people watching us online all around the country and sometimes even in other countries. We are making an impact here. And these sprouts of growth give me encouragement to talk with you over the next few weeks about what our vision is for this parish. We have a vision statement. Our team wrote it last year, and I want to share it with you now. And by the end of this series, you're all going to have it memorized. Here's our vision statement. We strive to be a community growing in faith where everyone loves to belong. We strive to be a community growing in faith where everyone loves to belong. And over the course of this series, we're going to unpack that for you, because every word was carefully chosen and reflects a critical aspect of our mission. But I want to tell you up front that the only way that we are going to realize this vision is if we all play a part. Because even the smallest contributions, when combined, create a huge effect and grow the pie. And so this week we're going to start with the first word in that vision statement, which was we, right? It's a small word, but a powerful one, because it means that everyone is included. We are the people of God. We all are the people of God. But all people need leaders who will lead them in the movement of Christ in the right direction. Jesus was the greatest leader in human history. He launched a worldwide movement of people that has become the longest lasting institution on the planet. And he did it without an army, without money, and without social or political influence. And so tonight we're looking at the power of great leadership in moving us forward to that final vision, that final destination, that finish line of a multitude of believers and an army, a vast army for God. So let's take a quick look at leadership. We all know that leaders have certain qualities in common. Great leaders have certain qualities like, courage and discipline and perseverance and competence, of course. But Christian leadership is fundamentally different in one very, very important way. And Jesus puts his finger on it in the gospel reading tonight. You see, most people think that leadership is about enforcing rules and issuing commands. It's about being on top of an organization. And people back in Jesus' day definitely thought that. That's why Jesus said to his disciples, those who are recognized as rulers make their authority felt over others. But Jesus said, it shall not be that way with you, my disciples. Whoever wishes to be great among you must be the servant, must be your servant. And that's because great leadership comes from the realization that our number one job in life is to live in humble service of the people that we hope to lead. We serve them, they do not serve us. They do not serve us, we serve them. Now, that wasn't a very popular idea back in Jesus' day. It was a radical idea given the social structures, and it still is a radical idea today. Servant leadership is still a radical idea today, but it works. And do you know why? Because we're built that way. We're built that way. We are made to serve. We all know deep down inside that we are the happiest when we decide to, get off the couch or stop what we're doing and serve someone else rather than expecting everyone to serve us. We are the happiest because God made us that way. And I think that's why one of the reasons the church has lasted so long is because it taps into and harnesses that fundamental reality about humanity, that we are built to serve. We have a need to give. And so your leadership here at St. Hilary, we want to serve. We want to serve by helping people get connected in small groups where they can find their way because life was not meant to be lived alone. We want to serve by helping people get connected with God through prayer. It's why we put so much effort every weekend into world-class, and I'm not exaggerating, world-class music and powerful multimedia presentations. We want to serve by helping people heal from the wounds that life can inflict. It's why we have several healing ministries and support groups that help people. We want to serve by helping people grow in faith with homilies that are relevant to their lives and are planned, edited, and rehearsed. Yes, these insanely long homilies are the edited version. I have not only one, but 2 editors, and I'll give you their emails if you'd like to share some thoughts with them. But it's a Herculean task every week, and it's a whole team of people who put these messages together, a whole team. And we do it because we fundamentally believe that the message series is what drives the parish in the same direction and keeps people growing in faith. It's even now in the school, the kids are learning about the message series, and our faith formation kids who meet after Mass tonight are going to be talking about this series as well. It's what keeps us moving together. But there's one other way that we want to serve. We want to serve by giving you the opportunity to serve. Uh-oh. See, servant leadership never hoards power. It shares it and raises up new leaders. Jesus shared his power with his apostles and gave them the opportunity to contribute to the movement and become leaders themselves. And so our leadership, our vision depends on great leadership, which I can't do alone because A, I'm not a great leader, and I can't do it even with my leadership team or my staff. We need all of you, leaders, to step up to the plate. That's what our vision depends on. And so we're hoping that over the course of this series, God will touch your heart, and you'll say to yourself, I think I need to take the next step. Now you may say, Father Roger, I don't have much to offer. I've never led anybody, but that's not true. It's not true because great leadership really is simply about influencing people in the right direction. That's what a leader does, influences people in the right direction. And I guarantee you that you have way more influence in your life over people that look up to you and admire you and are around you in your life than you ever dreamt of. Your influence goes farther than you could ever imagine because people won't tell you all the time how you're changing them, how you're influencing them. They might not even recognize that. And think about this. When all the little fish swim in the same direction, they become one big fish, and we can conquer everything. We can become a force for good in the world, continue to be a great force for good in the world, even in the face of decline. And so that's why we're always helping people. We want to help people move to the next level. We want to help people move from being a seeker who comes here to get spiritual fulfillment on Sundays. That's a good thing. But we want to move you to the next level when you're ready to become a member of this parish and say, I'm ready to contribute in some ways. And then we want to move you to the deeper level of actually becoming a disciple, a deeper disciple of Christ, when you decide that maybe I should serve, maybe I should do something to help. And then we'll take you to that last level when you're ready and willing, is being a leader and taking a significant ownership interest in a fundamental part of this parish. We want to walk with you on that journey from seeker to member to disciple to leader. That's why we're always encouraging you to take that next step whenever the time and the circumstances are right for you. Is it easy? No. Leadership never is easy. In the Bible, every hero in Scripture had to make sacrifices. We hear that in the first reading tonight, that Isaiah talks about this figure called the suffering servant, which was really a prediction, a vision of Jesus in the future. This suffering servant who suffered, who was afflicted, who was crushed in infirmity, who bore the guilt of many, and who gave his life as an offering for sin, for the sin of all. Leadership can be that way sometimes. It's a burden. You might be leading a small group one night and nobody shows up. It could happen. You might be serving someone in need and they lash out at you because they're hurting. It could happen. But there's another fundamental quality of Christian leaders, and it is that they never give up. They persevere and never give up, even in the face of great odds that are against them. Why? Because we as Christians know that we have a high priest in heaven. We do not have a high priest in heaven who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses because he has been similarly tested himself. And so the rewards of leadership are off the charts, and they far outweigh the burdens, because every time you help someone join a group or you become their spiritual friend, every time you pray with someone who's hurting, every time you invite someone to church or invite them to one of our healing ministries, every time you help someone grow by sharing your faith, every time you serve someone in need, you are moving all of us closer to that finish line, to that great vision in the future of a vast army for God and a multitude of believers. You are bringing us closer to that finish line with each little contribution you make. The other day, I went out for a run early in the morning, as I often do. I'll go out in the morning and run down Tiburon Boulevard, the path down here by the bay. And this morning, not this morning, but the morning I went out for the run, I was in a particularly bad mood. I felt really discouraged because there were some setbacks in ministry. Like I said, leadership is a burden. And it was a foggy morning also, which made things worse for me. I hate the fog. And I remember running down that path, and it seemed like the gloom was following me the whole run. It didn't seem like the clouds were lifting at all. And then I got back to my room, and I looked out my picture window. This is the view from my picture window. Thank you very much, by the way. That never gets old, let me tell you. But I looked out, and I could see way off into the distance, I could see the fog beginning to lift. And I realized I couldn't see it down below. I could only see it when I was up high. And I realized in that moment that hope grows when we have vision enough to see far off the great things that God has in store for us. We have many challenges here in this parish, especially after COVID. I'm not going to lie, but we are seeing remarkable change. Hearts are being uplifted. People are learning to pray. They're growing in their faith. Wounds are being healed. Our missions and ministries are reaching out to people in need, and people are connecting with one another in small groups. It's happening. It's slow, but it's happening, and we see it. The leadership here sees it, and we thank God for it. And brothers and sisters, what we need to do now is continue the course, stay the course, continue to combine our gifts, and remain focused on that great vision in the future of a vast army for God and a multitude of believers. And if we do that, I promise you, without a doubt, we will grow the pie.